This is the second part of section 4.4, and what we're doing today is perpendicular lines, writing equations and graphing perpendicular lines. We're going to fold the foldable this way. You only need half of it for those of you that are making copies at home. We're going to fold it in like this. Sorry, my alignment is a little bit off. So again, this was the second part of 4.4, and what we're looking at is perpendicular. We're going to start with this one right here, and I'm folding it over this way just so my paper doesn't block this area. All right, so remember from parallel, what we were doing is identifying the slope, so we have to still identify the slope. That means that the slope we have is 2. I want to remind you that dividing by 1 means the same thing, and we kind of need that denominator because you have to do the rise over the run, or how many you move up and how many you move to the right. The perpendicular slope, though, has to be the negative reciprocal. That is the correct name for the perpendicular slope. What does negative reciprocal mean? And I call it flip-flip. Where you have to flip the fraction and you have to flip the sign. So for this one would be 1 over 2 to flip the fraction. And then this one has to be negative to flip the sign. This is the slope that you're using. You're wanting to write a perpendicular line. That is a symbol for perpendicular. So this is the slope that you will be using. This is still your x value. This is still your y value. And we're going to plug them in just like we have done for parallel. This is 3, is my y value, equals, and I'm using the perpendicular slope because I want a perpendicular line. Negative 1/2, and then our x value is a negative 2 plus b. Now we have to solve for b. Negative times a negative cancels out. 2 divided by 2 cancels out, so we're left with 1. So 3 is equal to 1 plus b. If you're not sure how to do that, you can do it in the calculator. Hit negative 1 divided by 2, hit enter, and then multiply by negative 2. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. 2 is equal to b. And just like the other section on 4.4, we have to write the equation. That's y is equal to, remember you use the negative 1/2, so that is the slope we're writing. We have to write x. And b was a positive 2, so we have to write plus 2. I'm going to fold this back out like this. That means we have 2 equations again. Remember, parallel is a relationship between at least 2 lines, so is perpendicular. We need 2 lines. The first line is the line you were given, so it's equal to 2x minus 3. The second line is the line you solve for, so that's the second line. This is negative 1/2 x plus 2. Unlike last time, the slopes have to be different. Let's go ahead and graph. For this one, we start at the negative 3. Then we move up 2 to the right 1. You can do it again. And then we have to label it y1 so I can identify which equation you were graphing. Then the second one, we start at a positive 2. 1, 2. This one means go down 1 and then to the right 2. So down 1 and then to the right 2. So we can do that again. Down 1 to the right 2. So this sometimes is confusing to students, is which point goes with which line. That's why I'm asking you to label them. And they intersect at 90 degrees or a perfect right angle. So I'm going to put my ruler like this. And you can tell that it's at 90 degrees. Okay, let's practice a little more. With this one, we cannot tell what is the slope. We have to put it in the correct form, which is y is equal to mx plus b. So we first have to fix it. I'm going to write 2x plus y is equal to negative 2. We're going to subtract the 2x. I'm left with y is equal to, remember the one with the x is the one that goes first, negative 2x, and then minus 2. And we did all of that work to identify the slope. That is the slope we had, the negative 2. Don't forget it has a 1 as the denominator. So for this one, we would go down 2 and to the right 1. But what we have to use is the perpendicular. We want to write perpendicular lines. So we have to use a perpendicular slope. And I called it flip, flip. We had to flip the fraction, so now we have a 1/2. Sorry, that says fraction. And then flip the sign. This one was negative, so our perpendicular has to be positive. You don't have to write the positive sign, but you can if it makes you remember that now our slope is positive. We're going to start substituting in the values. This is an x, this is a y. So I'm going to write a little bit over here so I just have enough space. Negative 2 is equal to, and then the perpendicular slope, because we're writing perpendicular lines, and then your x is negative 1. All right, now we got to solve for b. This is still negative 2 is equal to now a negative 1/2 plus b. Now we're going to add 1/2 to both sides. Negative 1/2 plus a 1/2 is a negative 1.5 or 1.5. You can do this in your calculator if you're not really sure how I got that value. But this one's better as a decimal because it has a location that we need to start with. But our equation will be y is equal to, remember that 1/2 is the slope that we have used, x minus 1.5. So why is this a fraction and this a decimal? This is a movement, so we need to know up and down and left to right. And this is just a starting point. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph. y1 is the equation you were given. We had to fix it though, so it looks like negative 2x minus 2. The y2 is the equation that we had to solve for, so this is a positive 1/2 x minus 1.5. Let's go ahead and graph. For the first one, we started at the negative 2. This means down 2 and to the right 1. And go ahead and graph it. Please label it Y1. The second one starts at a negative 1.5, so where is that? So here's negative 1, so 0.5 would be right there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more for this one. So here is the starting point, negative 1.5. Now we got to move. We need to move up 1. Be careful. Some students want to move up just to here. That's a half. So another half is moving up 1. And then we got to move to the right 2. 1, 2. I'm going to say that again because it is a little confusing. From here to that intersection is a half. So moving another half is moving up 1. So we just moved up 1. And then to the right 2. We haven't had to do that very much in this class, but it's good to know. Okay, and then we're going to draw our line. And this is Y2. I'm going to put my ruler at the intersection again so you can tell that we made it at 90 degrees. So I'm a little bit off. All right. Writing the equation of perpendicular line that has 2x minus 3y is equal to negative 6. We first have to fix it. Fix the equation. I'm going to write it all the way down here so I have space. 2x minus 3y is equal to negative 6. We're going to solve for y, so we have to subtract. Let me not put this line right here because I don't have space. So I'm going to minus 2x minus 2x. I'm left with a negative 3y. Be careful, that negative sign is important. Most students forget it. And then minus 2x, because we got to put the x first, minus 6. Then we're going to divide by negative 3 to everything. Y is equal to 2/3 x plus 2. So we did all of that work to find the slope. We need the slope because then we have to do the negative reciprocal. The correct name for this is negative reciprocal. And that means that you have to flip that fraction. So 3/2. And then flip the sign. This slope was positive. Now we need to make it negative. Now that we have the slope that we need, we're writing a perpendicular line. So we need the perpendicular slope. We're going to substitute in the values. This is x and this is y. And I'm going to write it a little bit over just so I have enough space. Y, so this is 3 equals my m, which is the perpendicular one. So we don't need the other one anymore. Your x value, which is a negative 2, and then plus b. 3 is equal to, the negative signs cancel out. Multiplying by 2 to a division of 2 cancel out. So we have 3 plus b. Now we're going to have to subtract 3 from both sides. I have 0 is equal to b. That's okay. Our final answer is y is equal to, remember we used the perpendicular slope, So we have to write the perpendicular slope, the -3/2 x, and then our b was 0, so plus 0. We really don't have to write it, but since we're going to graph it, I went ahead and I wrote the plus 0. The two equations that we have to graph, the first one is the one we had to solve for. So that equals 2/3 x plus 2. And the second one is the one we solved for, which is a -3/2 x plus 0. We're going to start with this one. We start at a +2. We go up 2 to the right 3. And this was our y1. For the second one, we start at the 0. This says move down 2 to the right, down 3 to the right 2. And this is your y2. So that is graphing perpendicular lines.